All right, so that's navigation and target motion analysis. Let's move on to sensors and mast. Use the sensor. Use the full sensor suite of your submarine to locate and identify targets. Things to practice: understanding passive and active sonar. Learn about ocean conditions, maneuvering to mast depth. Yeah, that thing that we just tried to do and failed at. Using periscope, ESM, and radar masts. Learn how to use the towed array. Well, a towed array. Okay, let's try this. USS Pargo is our ship for this mission. SSN 650. Okay. Begin the mission. Alright. Shift 1 to read about sensors. Once the contact is detected, use Shift A to toggle your active sonar and start pinging. If the contact is not detected, increase speed to 5 knots and creep forward until it is. The target solution for this contact rises more rapidly due to the accurate ranging of active sonar as long as the contact is within range. However, active sonar is very loud and can give your position away. Let's see what these sensors. Alright. Sensors play a key role in modern naval warfare. They detect enemy, determine where it is, as well as where it is going, and ultimately facilitate hitting it with weapons. Right. Passive sensors listen for evidence of enemy without revealing the presence of the listening vessel. Active sensors emit a signal that listens for any that returns. Right. The emissions of signals can give away your presence, but active sensors can quickly provide more accurate and detailed data about your enemy. Your submarine and your enemy navy vessels possess the following sensors. Passive sonar. Unless your bow sonar is damaged, passive sonar is always on. Continually listen for sounds emitted by enemy vessels or weapons. Passive sonar gives an accurate bearing to the contact, which can be used over time to build up a targeting solution. It can also reveal a profile of sound emitted from the contact, allowing classification of that type of ship. That's the I'm doing nothing way of doing it. Active sonar must be enabled with Shift A. Once enabled, active sonar will continue to emit pings until it is toggled off by Shift A. Although active sonar gives away your position and has a significantly shorter range than passive sonar, it also provides rapid and accurate bearing and range data. Okay, that's if we need to kill this thing now. Towed array. This is a long cable trailing behind your submarine that continually listens, containing listening devices, which greatly improve the sensitivity of your sonar which greatly improve the sensitivity of your sonar. It works most effectively at about 5 knots at 5 knots is any slower the cable sinks. Right, so we have to keep moving in order to keep that little thing behind us. While faster speeds, flow noise begins to drown out the signal being received. Okay, right. Radar. Radar is an active sensor that emits radio waves, or microwaves, and receives reflected waves for analysis. It can rapidly determine bearing, range, as well as relative movement for detected objects, as well as, as an active sensor, it gives away the position of the unit using radar. Radar detection ranges is affected by rain and the size of the object being detected. Right, okay. ECM, electronic support measures. ESM, is a passive radar receiver that detects radar emissions from other sources. Since emissions are detected on striking the ESM receiver, it is much more sensitive than emitting radar, which has to rely on the signal to travel to and from the contact. All right, so we can use the ESM boom in order to actually pick up, anyone else using radar visually very, very quickly. Visual contact with the enemy is usually made with the periscope, or if your submarine is surfaced. Using the periscope, laser range finding can be conducted to accurately determine the enemy's range and relative movement without revealing your position, unlike radar. Note that radar, ESM, and visual periscope require raising your mass above the water. Mass can be detected by enemy radar, revealing your position. Furthermore, your radar also broadcasts your position to the enemy. Right. This is going to be a bit of a bitch. So, more or less, we have to find the enemy without actually being spotted. Enemy aircraft possess radar, ESM, and visual as well. Dipping sonar. A passive or active sonar listening device lowered from a stationary helicopter. Sonobuoy. Passive or active sonobuoys dropped by helicopters and aircraft. MAD. Oh, magnetic anomaly detector using Earth's magnetic field to detect submerged submarines. However, it has a very limited range of 2,500 yards, and is not effective at submarine depths below 500 feet. Interesting. So we can avoid that by just going lower. Detecting context. Any vessel detected by your sensors is termed a contact and is prefixed with a letter name based on the sensor type initially detected. Sierra, detected sonar. Romero, detected by radar. Echo, detected by ESM. Victor, detected by visual observation, periscope, or bridge. Master, upgraded to this if detected by more than one sonar type. Okay, so that's what the numbers mean, or rather the letters mean. Right, okay. Once classified, the contact designation is replaced by the class of vessel. Right. Sonar. When submerged, passive sonar will primarily be used by your submarine to detect, classify, and track contacts. Active sonar is also extremely useful and can greatly increase TMA against a contact, but it has several limitations. Okay. When using active sonar, listening for vessels... using active sonar, the listening vessel, U.S. sub, emits a loud ping and listens for a reflection of this noise from nearby objects. Enemy sub A. Sound has to travel to and from the object, making active sonar range usually less than if passive sonar, less than that of passive sonar. In addition, the sound reaching enemy sub B that is too far to return to the listening vessel reveals the U.S. Sound reaching enemy sub B that is too far to return to the listening vessel reveals the U.S. sub to the enemy sub B, but fails to detect the enemy sub B. Right. But reveals the presence of the U.S. sub. Right. Okay. So we can, they could still see us, but we might not be able to pick them up. Since active sonar relies on a reflection of the sound from the contact, such that a contact broadside of the listener reflects much more sound than it is face on. Right, okay, so obviously if they're side on to us, we're going to be able to pick up the radar signature a lot easier, or rather the sonar signature, rather than if they're just staring at us, since it's a smaller target. Okay, enemy vessel active sonar pings are displayed as yellow directional indicators on the map. Enemy torpedo active sonar pings are displayed as red directional indicators on the map. Flow noise. As a vessel moves, the flow of the water around the hull generates flow noise. The faster the vessel moves, the louder the flow noise is generated. This noise makes it harder to hear signals with your sonar, thus decreasing their sensitivity. Baffles. Hull-mounted sonar is shielded from behind so that the noise generated by the vessel itself does not interfere with their sensitivity. In addition, turbulence from torpedoes... turbulence from propellers... Where did I get torpedoes from? Turbulence from propellers and hull disrupt the flow noise behind the vessel. This results in a blind area directly to the rear, usually about 60 degrees wide. Right. A towed array is not affected by the rear baffles as the listening device is towed far behind the vessel. However, the towed array has a narrow blind spot forward as the noise of the submarine ahead masks incoming sound. Okay, they can sneak up on us, and we could sneak up on them if we get into their blind spot without actually, if they're moving too fast for the towed array to actually pick up anything. Finally, all submarine sonars have a vertical limitation to detection such that they cannot hear sound sources directly above or below them. In cold waters, this is represented by a plus or minus 45 degree listening arc. Interesting. Sonar listening. While you use sonar to detect enemy vessels when submerged, they also will be using sonar to detect you. Right. Okay. Helicopter dipping with sonar, right? There's that level, and then the enemy diesel sub, enemy nuclear sub, diesel subs. We can take out. We're gonna have to fight diesel subs. Enemy surface ship. They apparently have some sort of active sonar. The diagram. Right, Jesus Christ. The diagram above illustrates the general listening capabilities of your sonar. Enemy surface warships tend to be noisy, making them readily detectable by your sonar at longer ranges. Submarines are usually quieter, although the constant running reactor of nuclear submarines makes them somewhat more noisy than their diesel-electric counterparts. In fact, diesel-electric submarines will usually be the most quiet and difficult contacts to detect. You see, I've watched down Periscope. I know that, fuckers. Finally, enemy helicopters and aircraft are practically impossible to detect by sonar. Your only warning of their presence will be active pings from dipping sonar or active sonobuoys dropped nearby. Right. Underwater acoustics. Sonar uses sound waves traveling through the water and environmental factors to impact its sensitivity, increasing or even enhancing it. Ambient noise. This is the background noise of the ocean itself. The louder it is, the more difficult it becomes to hear other sound sources with sonar. Increased sea state, wind, and how large the waves are, as well as rain, snow, and sea ice all increase ambient noise, while pack ice dramatically reduces ambient noise, because there's nothing moving around. Okay, good. Water depth. Very shallow waters may result in scattering of sound waves as they strike the bottom, and so have more biological activity. Right. Resulting in a decreased sonar sensitivity. Water depth is also a major factor involved in increasing the propagation of sound in water by several phenomena, as outlined below. Holy crap. Now I'm getting a science lesson on how sound moves through fucking water. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, good lord, this is a lot of paperwork. I hope you're enjoying yourself back there as I try to read this textbook on how to command a submarine. The propagation of sound in water bends due to the changes in temperature and pressure. This is moving of sound in water. As water cools, it bends sound waves downward, while warmer water bends them upwards. In addition, increasing water pressure also bends sound waves upwards. Therefore, sound waves traveling deep into the ocean will initially bounce downward due to the temperature gradient near the surface, then bend back upwards due to the increasing pressure gradient. This results in sound waves traveling in a deep arc back to the surface. This is weird as hell. This is all fucking nagely fucking Jesus H fucking Christ. Why don't you just save me? Why don't you just send me to Navy school at this point? As mentioned above, sound is bent back upwards by the water pressure, such that if the water is deep enough, 10,000 feet in the Norwegian Sea, it will ultimately return to the surface. The zone in which these sound waves return to the surface is called a convergence zone and can be 40,000 to 50,000 yards away. A ship listening with sonar in this zone could detect the emitter even though those ranges is far beyond the distance sound could travel through the surface, along the surface. Jesus Christ. Okay, so someone off and fuck you distance away could still pick up my sonar. Okay. In moderately deep waters, 2,000 feet, a phenomenon called bottom bouncing may occur. The sound waves strike the ocean floor and can be reflected back up to the surface, increasing their propagation. Bottom bounce requires a relatively flat and uniform seafloor to reflect sound waves. Okay. Okay, so we're really deep. We can bounce the active sonar off the seafloor and detect shit above us. Or maybe somehow fucking wiggle the magical radar waves and sonar waves around to find things. This is a lot more brainy than I expected it to be. Holy crap, I just wanted to find targets and shoot them. As mentioned previously, cooling waters bend sound waves downward, while warming water increases the increased water pressure bends them upward again. In general, water is warmest near the surface, cooling gradually with depth. Around 100-300 feet, there is a sudden drop in water temperature called the thermocline, or thermal layer. Past the thermal layer, water temperature gradually decreases to about 4 degrees Celsius at, to about 4 degrees Celsius at 3,000 feet and below. Okay. The shadow zone. What's the shadow zone? That sounds interesting and terrifying. Okay, so, right. So, if we're above, like, okay, so, layer, wait, so this is the 100, 300 feet. 100 to 300 feet, there is a sudden drop in water temperature. Okay, so this is about this area. So, I'm going to say this is 300 feet. And so, right, so, the radar waves will go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, but they will keep doing this. However, if we get below this and it's colder, shit will go back down. Well, shit will just go straight down. Thermal layer. As mentioned above, the sudden drop in... we just read that. Actually, no, we didn't. All right. As mentioned above, the sudden drop in water temperature results in the thermal layer. Heavy seas mix the water near the surface, which can weaken the strength of the thermal layer. In regions where the surface water is too heavily mixed, the water is too shallow, or the temperature is too consistent, a thermal layer will not form at all. Okay. Surface duct. Above the normal thermal layer... Right, okay, so now we know what surface duct is. Yay! I actually learn how the fuck this works. Right. Above the thermal layer, sound waves tend to bend upwards. Upon striking the ocean's surface, some are reflected back downward, where once again they gradually bend back upwards. This continuous reflection of sound waves between the ocean surface and thermal layer is called the surface duct, and can greatly increase the propagation of sound. Heavy seas tend to decrease the strength of a surface duct to scattering sound by disrupted ocean surface. Okay, so when the seas are calm, the surface duct is going to be high, and so our passive radar is going to be able to pick up things, or rather, our radar will be able to pick up things that much easier. Okay, right. This is a lot of shit that I'm going to need to swallow in order to actually figure this shit out, but okay. Shadow zone. Directly below the thermal layer, a region known as the shadow zone may form. Sound waves are either trapped in the surface duct, or penetrate the thermal layer only to be bent downwards as the water cools. The bending of sound waves away from this area results in a shadow zone region, a region of dramatically decreased sound propagation. A submarine in the shadow zone will find it difficult to detect vessels outside of the zone and vice versa. Okay, so... Right. Okay, so we can come down into the shadow zone and hide. And that's below... If we need to hide from something, that's below 300 feet. And then we can kind of zip around there, and the enemy's sonar will not be able to detect us as easily. Okay. Note that the effectiveness of the shadow zone is dependent on ranges between the vessels. As they get closer, sound waves travel more steeply between them, eventually penetrating the thermal layer as the submarine leaves the shadow zone, right? Words. Too many words. Conditions. Prior to combat, the local area conditions and presence of a layer or a duct are presented in the briefing. Once in combat, use F5 or click the Conditions tab to open the Conditions panel. Right, okay. Alright, so it actually shows us the layer. Interesting. Good. Fine. We can actually figure out what the fuck is going on very easily. Holy shit, this is a lot of words, though. The conditions display lists the current ocean ambient noise level, right? The depth and strength of a layer, if one exists. The strength of a surface duct, if one exists. As well as the depth of the ocean floor. In addition, your submarine's depth is plotted... Well, submarine's depth is plotted if above 1,000 feet. And if your current contact solution is high enough, your contact depth is also shown. Okay, good. So that's what we're going to use that to track submarines, I assume. The ability of a layer to mass sound or a duct to propagate sound is dependent on their strength. Strong layers and ducts have a much more dramatic effect on sound propagation than do weak ones. Okay, so... Okay, so... A surface duct increases sound, and a thermal layer... Bounces sound off of it? Good lord, this is... I'm literally going to Navy school here. Water temperature, called the thermal... Past the thermal layer, water decline... Okay, so that's going to be causing... Okay, below the thermal layer, we're going to have problems. Rather, there may not be a thermal layer, so they may not be, may not have this situation. Right, okay. This is information fucking overload. Right. The depth of the currently selected torpedo on a wire will also be displayed on the conditions panel. If the ability of a layer to mask sound or a duct to propagate sound is depending, yeah, okay, we did this. Okay, so that's all we needed to know for that. Jesus H fucking Christ. And also, that target's actually kind of close. So let's, for our own entertainment here, actually figure out exactly what this target is before we actually do this. Well, actually, then again, right, well, we need to use our active sonar, so let's not actually fuck that up. Okay, so, active sonar. That's very loud, though. That's not exactly the most atmospheric ping in the world. Okay, that basically brought us to 95 firing solution immediately. And then immediately identified the target. So it's a very loud squeal, in which case, we reveal literally everything in the general area really quickly. Okay? But that means that everybody can fucking see us. Then again, he doesn't have any actual... Wait a minute, so let's see here. Let's try and find our... Well, actually, it's already been shown. That's slightly different, but apparently it's the same thing. But it's already been identified, so we don't really need to do that. Right? They're all listed by name, right? Where is Azaban? Andy Zan. There it is. Right, okay, so it doesn't have any sensor information at all. So, even if we use the sonar, it didn't actually pick us up. Or it physically cannot pick us up. Getting to mass depth. Right, use the conditions tab to open... Alright, right. Underwater acoustic conditions. Oh, Jesus H fucking Christ almighty. Yes, we know how I ingested all of that information, but I still have absolutely no idea how any of it fucking works. Getting the mass tab. To use mass, you will need a surface depth above 50 meters. Use E to oh right, we don't actually move around. We just use our ballast to go up. That's how we don't break our periscope. But Andy Zan is turning towards us. But we already got a targeting solution on him, so we don't really actually need to do anything other than just target him. I think what we were doing, since we spent so long fucking reading, he got really close to us. New contact, Sierra 2. Where? Bearing 18. Oh. Well, that's a problem. Okay. Actually, you know what? Since he's right there, we're just gonna stop and then just kind of fire a torpedo at him because he's getting a little close to my face here. Alright, so... These are wire-guided torpedoes, so it doesn't matter. I lost my targeting solution. Rather, lost the automatic, guide for it. Right, it's... so the targeting information is actually decreasing. Because I don't actually have my... Right, so we got a temporary boost to targeting solution. But we should be able to... This torpedo should be able to still find him. Yep, there it is. It knows. Tracking... So it jumps around on the screen a lot. And then this should directly hit him now. I thought it missed, but it found it. Alright, then. There's that. Okay, aside from all the wacky fucking sonar shit, yeah, we still pretty much got our... We still pretty much got the point and click, you know, hunt and kill sort of stuff done. So at least there's that. Alright, let's get to mast depth now that we've gotten rid of our Russian friend here. But obviously we don't want to do that in the middle of fucking combat. No, don't fucking maneuver. Where's the fucking key? Key, right. Stop. Right, it's E. We want to get to 50 for ballast, and this is, well, once again, very slow. Passing 100 feet. Well, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, we'll have that center down again, because we're going to hit it right as we get up there. Right. Right. A little bit more. Little more. Little more. One more. There it is. Okay, good. Exactly 50 feet. How about that? Okay. Up periscope. Alright, so where's our other target? Contact S2, bearing 15. I got nothing. Okay. When you reach about 65 depth, stop X. You're right. XU, stop your ascension. Your final depth should be 40 to 50 feet. If not, you see an E. Right, you see an E as you cannot use the mast too deep. Right, as you surface, your submarine will cross the layer into the surface duct, allowing the detection of additional contacts. Right. Oh, very strong layer, very strong duct. Okay, right. So this is just kind of a range extension, right? A surface duct basically extends our radar, so it bounces longer so we can spot more things, I assume. But however, I still can't see our second target. 9 to raise the ECM NAS. Well, that's that. That's the second mast. Whatever the hell that is, it's way over there. This is a passive center that detects radar signals, providing a measure of their strength and originating bearing, as shown as purple lines on the map. There are no purple lines on the map. There are no hostile warships or aircraft using search radar in this tutorial. However, if there were, occasional purple indicators on the incoming radar would be shown on your tactical map. Strength of this signal isn't shown as on the meter in the left. If this was a tutorial showing me how this fucking works, wouldn't there... You know, shouldn't there be that in the tutorial? Shouldn't you present that exact situation to me instead of having me shoot at defenseless Russian ships? That would actually prepare me for an actual situation so it isn't a fucking surprise. Come on, guys. Detecting a contact by ECM provides a small boost to targeting solution. Use 9 to lower ECM mass. Contact Sierra 3 upgraded to Master 3. Okay, so there's multiple ones. So we got him by ECM and sonar. Rather ECM and by passive. But let's see if we can get him... Because I saw something in the distance. Where the fuck? That's 0. That's straight ahead. That's dead north. I saw something in the distance. There it is. Right. What do we got here? Well, if the wave would get out of the fucking way. What? Where'd it go? Son of a bitch! The magical disappearing waves hiding these Russian ships from me. Jesus fucking Christ. I guess the sea swallowed him up. Or rather, he moved out of fucking visual range. Okay, so. Lower the ECM mast. Press you to raise your periscope. Once raised and ready to use, an icon appears over the... Yeah, I know how to do this. Periscope view can be panned. Yeah, okay. Low light vision. Yeah, I already know how to do this. Periscope mast contains an ECM receiver which detects the strength, but not direction of the enemy radar transmissions. Okay. Right. So this gives us this, but it doesn't give us... The ECM mast will actually give us targeting data. So why did they tell us to put that down? We need that. We need to find the enemy. Well, I can't seem to find the enemy anymore. Raise the radar mast. Right. Don't use this unless there are enemy... Well, there's anything using radar. Okay, well now we've obviously seen both enemy ships. However, they're out of our... Oh, well, there's one. Well, Chilligan and... Where's the alligator? Okay. Well, all things considered, they're a little bit far out of our range here to attack them. Right. We don't need any of this anymore. Many submarines are equipped with a towed array, which works best at about 5 knots. Use Q... Okay. So... This is all reiterating information. This is actually kind of a really bad tutorial because it doesn't actually remember the information that it's telling me constantly. Use F6, left-click the signature tab at the bottom right to open the conditions panel. I've already identified both ships. But running a... But I suppose we need to actually surprise it, or rather, appease it by finding the exact one. Chillican. Where do we get Chillican? There it is. Chillican. Classified as Chillican. Alright. As your speed reaches 5 knots, you will notice that your ownership towed signal may become greater than passive signal. Wait, hang on here. Wait, what? This is additional sensitivity provided by the towed array. Well, I'm supposing it's just this. Or ownership, right, this. This is a really weird way of fucking saying that, but okay. Cycle through your contacts with T to see differences in detection between your various sonar types. That's R. Okay, so where's alligator? What? Origin, what are you doing? I'm busy trying to command submarines here. Alright. Alligator, there it is. Master 2, classified as alligator. We already knew that, though. I just told my men to reload a fucking tube. Origin, leave. Be gone. I don't care what Crash is playing. Right. Note that the towed arrays have a narrow blind spot facing forward, while hull-mounted sonar has a broader blind spot to the rear. Term the baffles. This may result in a 0 reading for towed or contacts in front of your submarine. What? Finally, use Q to increase your speed about 2 ahead. Note the dramatic reduction in towed array bonus. Right. Right, yeah, so this is going to get shittier. As it has. Right. Okay, so there's that. Ending combat. Okay, so let's go sink the ships now. Now that we've actually identified them. Well, that was fast. But okay. So. Okay, we do have... Get out of here. You're interfacing my... You're screwing with my torpedoes. What was it again? Right, R. Right, we're just gonna shoot 2 missiles at them because it's easier. Alright, load missiles 1 and 2, please. Waiting. Alright then. There's missile 1. Where's missile 2? There's missile 2. We're gonna launch them together so we know what the fuck we're doing. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're gonna set these to narrow so they don't fuck around. Okay, so we're gonna fire this one. About there. We're gonna fire the other one. About there. Alright. 2 birds in the air. Those may be kind of far out of range, though, but hopefully I actually hit them. And showtime. Where's the other one? Where are you, Missile 2? You're running late. Ah, there's the other one. Oh, wait. First target's still afloat. Well, that's shit. I'd like you to reload the missiles, please. We need to fire another one. I am insulted by Chilikin's, robustness and his inability to die when I shoot him. He's on fire, but he's not dead. Tavares Chilikin, your days are numbered. And fire. Now, you see, here's the thing about this. We may need to identify what kind of target we're fighting, but in this case, well, honestly, we could just fire a missile at it and then be done with it, unless they have some sort of countermeasure against a missile. I'm assuming the game is going to be an asshole and stop us from doing that immediately. So, we may have that to worry about down the line. But again, it seems like just shooting a missile at the target is the simple and easiest way to kill it. However, I may want to load more tubes just in case, so I'm not running in one of these situations where one of the ships that I'm shooting at actually survives, and then I have that awkward moment where it's like, oh, right, I need to go prep another missile. So hopefully we don't have to deal with any more of Comrade Chilikin's shit. There he goes. Okay, he's sunk. Oh, and there's the there's the alligator over there, sinking very slowly. How atmospheric. Well, rest well, Comrade Alligator. See you at the bottom. We'll just be visiting, though. Well, hey, where's my ship? Okay. All right, well, that's it for this. We're almost done with the tutorials, but this is about 2.5 hours of me just dicking around trying to figure out how to... Just basically, mostly me reading the manual. Alright, we're done.